Thanks so much for being with us. The blogs, as you've noted, are more every other week. Well, many have gone by since they discovered the sarcoma cancer on this growth in my abdomen, and we're learning to live with the reality of this. It's not treatable, but we understand it doesn't spread. And the bigger problem may actually be the growth as it gets bigger. But we want to thank all of you who have been praying. I'm on a very strong diet because it's impacted my digestive system, but I'm still managing quite a few hours a day to keep up with the global ministry of special projects. You'll be getting our latest special projects letter. Email people, you should have had this. And that will give you a few important details, including the fact that special projects will be given 6 months notice. So it's not something that's going to just suddenly close. And so we hope people will continue to support that great ministry. Of course, Lawrence Tong has been in touch with me, and we look forward to his visit in early March. But God, as you know, puts different themes on my heart. Some of them probably have never been shared before in the same way. And this theme is 7 major ministries. We've had a series of 7 amazing men and women of God who were with the Lord that I had the privilege of knowing. Now we're going to do a series on 7 major ministries, because these little mini histories are powerful in themselves. And we can also learn a lot, because God has been doing absolutely phenomenal things in this past 100 years and before. And of course, in my first 7, no doubt your favorite will be left out. Number 1 is Wycliffe Bible Translators, Summer Institute of Linguistics. The first missionary I met arriving in Mexico City in 1957 was a Bible translator, John Beekman. The founder of Wycliffe was, his name just skipped. And maybe it'll come back a little bit later. This is something we experience. Wycliffe became, maybe still is, one of the largest mission agencies in the world. Their goal, of course, the translation of the Bible into, all the languages. And they're working now still on many hundreds and hundreds of smaller languages. It's all quite amazing if you follow it through the years. And then the second organization is the Bible Society. Now, there's a more recent Bible distribution group called Biblica. It was International Bible Society, and that's doing a great work. But I want to focus on the older Bible Society tied in with the United Bible Society, because that's the one that we've received Bibles from for over 64 years, starting there in Mexico. It's a phenomenal story. Of course, they work closely with Wycliffe, and the number of Bibles they produce, you can get it on their website, is quite phenomenal. Most of the 80,000 Bibles we're distributing or have distributed in India in this campaign, which finishes the end of March, when we hope we hit 100,000, they come from the Bible Society. Each Bible Society has quite a lot of independence, but they're tied together in this global network, which is incredibly important. And the chairman of our Special Projects Board, Tony Harrop, worked for maybe 20 or more years with the United Bible Society. And then the third organization is Tyndale. That's very personal, because Ken Taylor became one of my first friends as a young Christian moving to Moody in Chicago. And we were friends all our life. And they've especially stood with us in supplying books at special prices. And they've especially stood with the ministry of the ship, and even send teams from Tyndale to visit the ship and to see how it's all working out. We thank the Lord that these many years later, Tyndale House is still going strong. And I believe we should pray for these ministries. They're very generous with our operation in Florence, where, of course, we pack up a lot of the books for the ship, but use some of them in other ways. Then the fourth organization, probably less known, Every Home Crusade. Jack McAllister, when I was a student, he was big on God's screen. One of the first to launch into fundraising on television. He had these phenomenal goals of putting literature in every house in the entire world. And in the decades to come, we of course got to know each other. They almost have done that, and in many countries the second time. Restricted access countries, of course, another story. When Jack moved out, Dick Eastman moved in and took the work forward in an even phenomenal way. I think it's referred to now Every Home for Christ, but I hope you can check out their website. And then the fifth mega organization is WEC, founded by C.T. Studd, who we have already talked about, one of the more unusual missionaries who only toward the end of his life founded WEC, and in a very complex situation. WEC became really the strongest missionary sending force, and also helped pioneer people from a wider range of denominations, including Pentecostals, to be involved with them, though they eventually, of course, created their own missions. We've worked very closely with WEC, and of course, CLC, in a sense, grew out of WEC. That's not on our list for today, but both those organizations have had a phenomenal impact. And of course, they're still recruiting, they're still sending workers, and you can still easily get information about them. The website I've told you about, Redeem TV, has the film, it's all free of charge, of C.T. Studd. And then the sixth organization, perhaps one of the most famous mission societies, known as the China Inland Mission, and now OMF, founded by Hudson Taylor. We have more books and film about Hudson Taylor than almost any Christian, except I think maybe Martin Luther. And most of us have been challenged and blessed through some of those writings, as he emphasized having a deep experience with the Lord. OMF, of course, is still going strong, and their recruits now don't just come from England and Australia and the States. Recruits come from Singapore, from China, from Hong Kong, and they're based in Singapore, as they have been for years. One of my OMF heroes recently went home to be with the Lord, Michael Griffiths, whose book, Take My Life, we have pushed, I think, right from the very early days of our movement. We've been able to stay linked with almost every director of OMF right to this very day. And then number 7 is Youth with a Mission, founded by Lauren Cunningham. In an amazing way, I met Lauren the same day I met Bill Bright and Jack McAllister. Quite an interesting day, I think, 1962 in California. And we got linked. In fact, the next summer, though YWAM had already started in a small way. Don't think he had that name yet, eh, Lauren came and put him in charge of all the literature there at Lamoureux, and they're very network, and they grew and continue to grow very fast. Each individual ministry now has relative freedom just to operate and get on with their ministry. I don't think they are going to have like country leaders, but the Lord works in a variety of ways, and we just thank the Lord. I'm sure there's hundreds of thousands in heaven as a result of YWAM. Well, I hope hearing about these organizations will be a stimulus to prayer. It will be an encouragement because combined, these organizations have reached hundreds of millions, of course, in a world of billions. And I once made a list of all the organizations that have given the gospel to at least 100 million. And I was amazed. And I think most of these are on that list. God bless you. I love hearing from you, and I love sending you anything I've ever offered at any time. This letter that I want you to make sure you read is available on my website, georgeforward.com, or you can email me and I'll send you a copy because it's an important letter. God bless you.